My name is Wilson Torres.
My name is Jonathan Mott.
We are interested in how stem cell research is currently being developed, as well as how it will impact future generations.
We knew a current sophomore, Alan Lay, who is a member of the Student Society for Stem Cell Research here at Stanford. So we decided to interview him to find out more about stem cells. So thank you for meeting with us today, Alan. First question is, what got you interested in stem cell research?
Well, as a pre-medical student, I'm mostly interested in basically the therapeutic potentials of stem cells. There's a lot of genetic disorders, diseases, and even acute injuries that stem cells can be used to treat. So, yeah, as far as medicine goes, I think stem cells are very promising.
What are some ways in which stem cell research will benefit society?
One of the ways that stem cells are currently being used in research is for what's called experimental model systems. Now, basically, the idea is that instead of doing experiments on someone's like heart tissue or liver or something like that, we can use stem cells to cultivate those tissues in a lab. And in the lab, we can control pretty much everything, so it makes them really ideal for research purposes. In addition, we also dodge a lot of the ethical issues of experimenting on humans, obtaining consent, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
So another ethical dilemma that always comes up with stem cells is the use of embryonic stem cells. What do you feel about that issue, and what does it mean for researchers in the field?
I feel that the issue of embryonic stem cell research is largely going to become a moot point in coming years. Part of this is because of the advent of induced pluripotent stem cells, which, as you may know, basically turns a non-stem cell into a stem cell. So you're basically rewinding it. Now, there's a lot less controversy associated with that than with obtaining embryonic stem cells, which, as you can tell, come from the embryo. However, I feel that a lot of the controversy surrounding embryonic stem cells comes from misconceptions and misinformation regarding the sources. For example, a lot of people will say, oh, these stem cells, these embryonic stem cells are coming from aborted fetuses. So, it's kind of encouraging abortions or that kind of thing. But that's completely false. I mean, there are no embryonic stem cells in fetuses, and even if there were, we wouldn't be advocating abortions just so we could get at those. In reality, embryonic stem cells used in research come from embryos left over from in vitro fertilization clinics that would otherwise be discarded. So, at least in this way, they're being used toward medicine and toward science. So I feel that, this issue of embryonic stem cell research being an ethical problem is going to hopefully wane soon.
Can you tell us a little bit about SSCR and your position in this group?
So the Stanford chapter of the Student Society for Stem Cell Research, okay, let me step back a little bit. So the Student Society for Stem Cell Research is a national organization, and so there are dozens of chapters nationwide, and the Stanford chapter is only one of them, and we're a pretty young one. We started in fall of 2009, and so we're basically wrapping up our second year. One of the things that we do is what's called our Stem Cell Educational Outreach Program, and it's basically the part of the program that I'm head of. And what we do is we go to local Bay Area middle schools and high schools, and we basically teach the basics of stem cells, how they work, how they function. We also engage a little bit in debate over ethical controversy and what can and can't be done with stem cells. So really that's our main goal with the education and outreach program, to clear up misconceptions and to spread information about what stem cells can and can't do.
So how have communities responded to this outreach program? Has anyone been upset that you're advocating for stem cell research?
Well, actually, the only criticism we've received is that we're actually not doing enough to advocate stem cell research. I've had a few adults, teachers and parents, tell me, why are you just, coming? It's great that you're coming to these classes and, giving lectures and PowerPoint slides and all that, but don't you feel like you should be, taking these students on field trips and stuff to like stem cell research labs, or show them around Stanford and take them in the labs and that kind of thing? And I mean, as much as we'd love to do that, it's not entirely in our power yet, but hopefully someday soon it will be. But as for people saying, oh, I don't want to be preached stem cells, that actually hasn't been an issue. Although students tend to ask a lot of the controversial questions, like, oh, where do stem cells come from, or those sorts of questions, I feel that it really sparks a lot of debate. People tend to feel differently about stem cells, I suppose, after we present it at them. For example, I'll see a lot of students who are concerned with the ethical issues of stem cells, but after a presentation, they're like, "Oh, I never knew that stem cells were really this, not controversial." So,
What other programs are going on that will help promote awareness and understanding of stem cells?
one program that the Stanford chapter of the SSSCR likes to engage in is our faculty lunch program, where we invite faculty who are conducting stem cell research or who are connected to the world of stem cells and biotechnology. We have lunch with them, so you could probably guess. But yeah, so we'll like have Chipotle or a Pizza My Heart or something like that, and just sit down with them, invite members of the Stanford community, anyone who wants to come, can come and sit with the professor, talk about the research, learn a little bit more about the research world and basically the state of stem cells today. So far that's been really rewarding, and some of our group members have actually landed research positions with faculty this way. In addition, we also have a stem cells publication. We've actually only completed one, but our members wrote articles and stuff, and we got published in a nice little newsletter. You might have seen it around campus. It's called the Stem Seller. So that was volume 1. We hope that this just makes the world of stem cells more transparent to people, because we know not everyone has like a biology background, some people have heard of stem cells but don't really know what they are, what they can do. So we just want to put that information out there, and basically our main goal is educate the community. Put stem cells within reach of our average community member.
So where do you think stem cell research is going to be in 20 years or so?
I can tell you where I hope stem cell research will be, and that's in medicine. I'm hoping that soon we'll be able to have stem cell based therapies and treatments for diseases and stuff. For example, in recent years, there was a woman with a collapsed windpipe who was actually able to undergo this experimental stem cell therapy, where they took her stem cells and cultivated a new trachea out of them and transplanted that into her. So that was successful, and I'm just hoping that we can start seeing that happening with other tissues in the future. So hopefully within 20 years we can be growing human hearts from your own stem cells, your own tissues, and yeah, it shows a lot of promise.
Which field do you think is going to be most affected by improvements in stem cell research?
Well, again, medicine, but I really think that the entirety of biotechnology, biomedical engineering, and biomedical science are going to be overturned by what we discover with stem cells. Stem cells are currently very fashionable. You could say they're in vogue. And yeah, there's definitely kind of a bandwagon with a lot of people wanting to do stem cell research. And so I would say that's already affecting those communities quite heavily right now. I'm just hoping that we can get enough momentum behind stem cells to eventually start reaching some of like the really groundbreaking achievements and therapies.
So do you think SSSCR would consider making a presentation to our class, E25B?
Well, considering how our goal is basically to educate the community and get our information out there, I can't think of a better way to do that than to talk to a class of Stanford students and affiliates and just see what they have to say about our plans and accomplishments. So.
Well, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alan.